Hello, welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome to my... Actually, I just said that right. Getting all mixed up already. What a great start. Anyways, my name is Amber and I am a mixed media artist who now mostly works in sketchbooks, so that is what I'll be doing today. This sketchbook is my Stillman Birn Beta Series sketchbook, and I'll be using watercolors and Micron Pen to do a little painting today. So I'm starting off my sketch with a Col-erase coloured pencil. I suppose it's not really a coloured pencil, but a Prismacolor Col-erase pencil. I love doing my sketches with these. I barely ever use a graphite pencil now, actually, just because I enjoy working with these so much. I'm not really sure why. I think it's just nice to work with a colour other than grey to do sketches, and I like how you can use them really lightly, and like even if you push quite hard they tend to come out quite lightly, so they're obviously not very pigmented. But yeah, I just really enjoy them, and it's nice to have a coloured pencil that you can erase as well. So you can get them in all different colours too, which I don't know, I just really appreciate, and I like to draw with red usually. Another thing I love about these pencils is you don't really have to sharpen them very often. They seem to be such a hard lead that they hold their point for a really long time. So that's always handy, because the one thing, I love coloured pencils, but sharpening is such an inconvenience, right? Sometimes I enjoy it, but like it's like a nice little break away from a drawing if you're doing a really intense coloured pencil drawing. But when you just want to do things quickly, it's always an inconvenience to sharpen your pencils. I don't know, that's definitely a ramble. What do you think? Is it an inconvenience? You might even find it therapeutic. I know some people do. Unless you're sharpening Prismacolor softcore coloured pencils, then it's most definitely not therapeutic and completely infuriating when they break on you all the time. You end up using half a pencil before you've even touched paper with it sometimes. But anyways, this little drawing, or painting should I say, is obviously a little bird feeder with a little bird, and the reference photo is from Unsplash, and I will link that down below, so if you want to draw from it yourself you can go and download it. So I'm going in now with my Micron pen just to add some lines in before I add the watercolour. Now, looking back at this, I would probably do the watercolour first and then do my lines after, but that's learning, isn't it? And that's a reason I am just absolutely loving sketchbooks at the moment. I love the fact that you just can try so many different things out, and if you don't like it, or if you think, oh, I could learn from this, you can turn the page and try something a little bit different, and that's what I'm enjoying so much at the moment. All I've been doing in the past few months is doing sketchbook art, and I've got so many videos to share with you about what I've been up to, what I've been learning, and I can't wait to share them. So this is just one of those videos. So it's time to start going in with the watercolour now, and that there is my favourite little water pot, the paint puck. I really love that because it's got the little, what would you call it? You can see it on screen. Well, I'm just going to say the little knobbly bits at the bottom of the paint puck there, and that helps to clean your brush off. And then I love how it's also got the little silicone brush grippers that you put your brushes in so you can keep them stored downright, which I know is best for your brushes, rather than keeping them stored like upright or anything like that if you just put them in like a brush or pencil pot, because it's bad for the bristles and it can ruin the glue, etc, etc. But anyways, I love my little paint puck. It was super expensive and I would probably not buy another one just because of that, but I'm glad I've got it, and I think it'll probably last forever, or at least a very long time. And when I say super expensive, I mean between £20 and £25, something like that. That's what I paid for mine. You can also just get the little puck bits, which you can then stick in any of your water jars or pots. And yeah, they're really cool and a little bit cheaper as well. So the brushes that I'm using also are the Betty Hayways watercolour brushes. I saw someone on YouTube using these, Natasha Newton. I think Natasha Newton, and I fell in love with them. I got some for Christmas and I use them all the time for watercolour, and they are still in perfect condition. I can't recommend them enough, and they look so pretty. The watercolours that I'm using there are the palette is my portable painter palette, and the watercolours are mostly Daniel Smith, and then I use a couple of just SAA watercolour tubes in there as well, just for some primary colours, but I mostly use my Daniel Smith Jean Haines set for this painting. I'm not really one for cleaning my palettes after using them, and I noticed here that I tried to reactivate some paint already in the palette, but it went a bit bitty, so I just cleaned that out and used a bit of fresh paint. I think it's the portable painter, because it's plastic, I feel like it dries little bits of the watercolour out rather than in my metal tins. I don't usually get that, so I can just leave the watercolours on there, let them dry out, and then reactivate them really easily. So I'm not sure if that's just something with the portable painter or not, but it definitely makes the watercolours peel a bit more once they dry, if you know what I mean. So what I did here is wet the paper a little bit before I went on and put my watercolours on there. Most of the colours in the Jean Haines watercolour set by Daniel Smith, I'll pop it on screen so you can see what I'm on about. Most of the colours in this set are granulating, and they've got multiple pigments in them, so I really, really love this sketchbook for granulating watercolours. In fact, I love this sketchbook for any watercolour painting, to be honest, because even non-granulating colours almost granulate on this paper. I'm not exactly sure why, and I know a lot of people don't like this paper because of that, but for me, I love texture, I love granulation, I love any granulating watercolours. It is ideal, and I'll show you properly just what the colours look like on this paper in a moment when they've dried properly. So I am just mixing a few colours on the paper, seeing what they do. At this point I hadn't actually tried these paints so much, so I just wanted to pop them on, see what happened, see if I created mud or if I created a really nice combination of colours on my paper. So what I wanted was for the bird and the bird feeder to pop out of the picture, and then I wanted sort of like a moody, gardeny, foresty background in the back. And one thing I love about these paints is in the set you get a lot of greens and a lot of sort of darker tones, along with some beautiful vibrant pinks and oranges too. So I do use most of the colours in this, I think, apart from the blues, just to see what happens. The paper in this sketchbook is really different to anything I've used before, actually. It seems almost like it's more of a textured cardstock rather than like any of the other art or mixed media papers I've used before. Obviously it is an art paper because that's what sketchbooks are for, but it definitely feels different, and I think that might be why the watercolour separates and granulates on it a bit more, maybe because instead of sinking into it, it sort of sits on top of the paper for a lot longer, so it sort of dries like that rather than sinking in. And I think that might be why it looks a bit different to using watercolours on any other paper I've used before. It definitely lends itself to like some really interesting edges, which I quite like to do on this paper, as you can see with all the splatters and the rough edges. It looks really cool. And if you do use a lot of water, the paper warps, but what paper doesn't warp really when you use a lot of water? Anyways, this is the granulation, what it looks like, and it's still wet there, so it's still quite vibrant. Obviously when it dries it gets much less vibrant and a little bit more dull, just like watercolour does on any paper really. I wish it didn't. I wish it stayed vibrant. I think that's why maybe recently I've been really enjoying gouache, because although it dries a little bit differently to what it looks like when it's wet, I enjoy the vibrancy of it a lot more than watercolour. But I still love watercolour. I definitely go through phases with my art mediums and which ones I like. This time last year, I was an oil painter. I thought, that's it, I found my medium, I won't be using anything else, I love oil paints. And then within a couple of months, I was bored of oil paints and moved on to acrylics. And then I don't know, I just move on all the time to something else. So that's why I now call myself a mixed media artist, because I just can't choose a medium that I love more than the other one. I just love them all, and it depends what day it is, I suppose. Like when I'm going to open my sketchbook and do some drawing, I go with whatever I want to do on that day. So it's enjoyable. At the moment, I'm loving coloured pencils and gouache again, and also some oil pastels. And actually my oil pastel paintings are coming up really soon on this channel, so I can't wait to show them to you. It's something totally different, and I didn't think I was going to like them, but I do. I love them, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. Which reminds me to ask you, if you haven't already, please subscribe if you like to watch just chill videos about all sorts of mediums and different sketchbooks. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed, then please do. I think you might enjoy this channel. I still don't really know what I'm doing very much, so I'm just making these videos very simple for myself, and I like to just show up and have a chat, to be honest. It feels as though I'm chatting with you watching, even though I am here in my room on my own. Back to the painting. The two colours that I'm using there are just primary yellow and red from the SAA, it's Society for All Artists. I was a member with them once, and I got these watercolours when I went to one of their shows, I think. So I've had them for ages, and I wanted to add just some basic primary colours to my portable painter, just for in case I would need them one day, and today is that day. You know, I did buy this portable painter to go outside and paint with, to go and do some plein air painting, but I still haven't gone. I've got no excuses now. The weather is beautiful. If you're in the UK, you will know this week we've had the most beautiful hot sunshine, and what a welcome surprise it's been. I've definitely been enjoying it the past few days, but I haven't gone outside to paint yet, so it's nearly time for me to do that. It's one of those things I've got no excuses for whatsoever, but I keep putting it off, and it's like I feel guilty if I go out without my dogs or something. Like I feel like, oh, if I'm going to go out for an adventure, then I should take them, but they're really old, and I don't think they'd actually appreciate an adventure like that anymore. I think I'm actually using that as an excuse to not do it, but I know it'd be such a lovely experience to plein air paint. And I probably would really enjoy it, but I'm not sure why. I'm such a little home bug, a little introvert. You know how we always, well, I do, you can tell me whether you do this as well. We always resist the things that will help us to grow the most in life. So like, for instance, I really want to start doing some portrait painting. I think I said about it in my last video, but I'm so scared of like being rubbish at it and failing, which is ridiculous. I do know that. I'm so scared of that I just won't start. And in fact, I would rather not do any art. And like last night, I went to bed at 9:30, which is really unusual for me because I love to be in the studio painting at that time. I just like went to bed and sulked because I'm too scared to do portrait painting, but I won't do anything else then either, because I should be doing the portrait painting like I want to do, but I'm scared of failing. Fear of failure. I think that's what it is with me. I don't know. I'm sure I sound absolutely insane, but I'm just like, this is like therapy session for me, you know? It's like journaling. I just come on here and just get all my problems out. So I'm sorry it's to you guys, but perhaps you find it relatable. Do let me know if you're still here listening at this point in the video. Do you sort of self-sabotage yourself? It's very strange. Such a strange psychology, us humans. Anyways, I didn't even get to the point about why I can't have a bird feeder. And that's in my notes as well. I really love birds. I would love to have a bird feeder, but we've got way too many cats around us, and Like the fence behind our home we call it the catway because it's like a motorway for cats. So it's just not even my cats, just everybody else's cats use it as a way to get around. And I feel like if I had a bird feeder here, I would just be inviting the poor little birds to their death all the time. So that's why. So I did get to the point in the end. But I'm just going in with finishing touches now on my painting, and yeah, I hope you like it, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. And with this close-up, you can see the granulation in the paints and just how nice it all looks. So I hope you think it's nice anyways. The colours could have probably been better, but as I said in the beginning, I was just chucking some paint down and seeing what happened. If you're still here, then do please comment and let me know that you've made it to the end of the video. I would love to hear that. And yeah, I think that is it for today. So I hope you have a lovely week. I shall see you next week. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Okay, bye.